Nick and I are going to talk a little bit about his mother-in-law's place and what could be done with this particular property, and how you might accommodate her needs as she gets a bit older, and also develop the property. So this is the property here. It's on Sidney Street in Belleville, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is just a picture I took from Google Street View. And this is the picture. There's the house, and I guess your mother-in-law lives in this house. And it's a lot that's skinnier than it is long, but it's a very deep lot.
Yeah, very deep lot. And yeah, she lives in that house, very deep lot. The house is a 2-bedroom home.
Yeah, and you'll notice when you're looking at something that we're talking about now, which is what is the highest and best use for property, and that's usually where I start with when I'm looking at a property. You know, you want to look also at what's around it, right? Because you want to try as best you can to fit into the neighborhood and to your community. You know, if you came here and you saw that there were only single family homes and you decided to put, you know, a 30-story building here, you know, you might get some pushback from some neighbors, right? But if you look at the neighborhood, you can see that their next door here is a kind of a 2.5-story apartment building, and we'll look at some of the other stuff. So the question I asked myself is, number one, what would you do with this property if Nick and his wife were able to work with your mother-in-law on it? And so I went to Google Maps. All right, so this is just a Google map, and I wasn't sure, Nick, where the property lines were, and so I did some measurements. But does this look about right for the lot?
Yep. Yeah, it looks very right. Yeah, absolutely. The bunch of trees, see where your cursor is, the bunch of trees behind the lot is bought by the gentleman that owns that building.
Owns which building?
So the building closest to the other building, other side. Yep. That one. That gentleman bought all those that lot with all those trees on it.
Okay, including this part here.
Yeah, that's the part he owns. Yeah.
So I just made some assumptions. So this is the lot, and when you're looking at lots, you know, you kind of can get a sense of where the lot line might be. This was just a guess on my part. I assumed it would end at where this parking lot is. Yep. And so with Google, you can right click and you can measure distance. So I measured the distance and the perimeter and the area comes out to 22,778 square feet. So just over a half an acre. You know, an acre is 43,560 square feet. So almost 23,000 square feet is just over half an acre. That's a pretty big development site.
Yeah.
All right. So then I've got another map here, which is just Street View, and there's that kind of 2.5-story apartment building next door. There's your mother-in-law's house. Now let's look at across the street. And what do we have here? What's this?
So that is part of the Quinny exhibition. Excuse me. And so that's a race. Beyond that building is a racetrack. Right there. And so that's part of like the stables for the Quinny exhibition.
And do they do like a big fair here every year?
Yeah. Every September, Labor Day weekend, they have it there.
All right. Isn't that interesting? And what do they do in this building then? There's probably animal show.
Yeah, it was animals and stuff. If you turn around though and go to turn to the right, like where the same building, same side as my mother-in-law's is on, that property, yeah, I can keep going down. Like beyond there is it's just next to that one. So back. Anyway, it's a big open lot, and it was just sold. Apparently it's gonna be a grocery store.
Okay, let's show me where the grocery store is.
Keep going straight then.
Keep going.
You got it. You're on the right direction. Just keep going straight. Right there.
So
it isn't sold. Yeah.
This is Jamie Troke's company again. Oh, Joe again.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, our guy. Yeah.
Our friend there. So that's good. What kind of that's a big site. It's going to be a big grocery store.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. From what I understand, and I mean, you can't quote me on this. I'm not 100% sure, but from what I understand, it's supposed to be a food land in there.
Wow. Okay. Great. All right. So this is in my opinion, a fantastic opportunity to do something with it, and what it will be, I don't know. Do you know what the zoning is? I mean, you said in your email it was kind of commercial and residential.
But yeah, it's an R4 zoning, the same as actually the rental.
So it's not commercial, it's R4.
R4.
All right. But because of the amount of commercial on this street, they probably would allow some kind of commercial in the front here, possibly anyway.
Sure.
But that would require rezoning. All right, so let's go back over here. And I'll just, no, I better not zoom in because I want to keep this. I'm going to create a picture so I can send this to you. So when I looked at this, and again, this is just what I would do if this was my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is 97, by the way, and she still runs her family. She's a former head nurse of the Ottawa Cancer Clinic, probably had 350 nurses working for her.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, she's a bit bossy. I love her to bits, by the way. But
Yeah.
she, you know, she runs our family like that, chop, chop. So if my mother-in-law lived here, I would probably want her to be able to live there, you know, as long as she wants to.
Yeah.
How, do you mind if I ask how old she is?
Yeah, of course. She's 71, very active, 71, retired, 71 out. She does all that lawn, like gardens, things like that. She's got a person who cuts her lawn, but like she does the gardening and all that, very active. But yeah, 71.
Since I'm going to be 70 later this year, 71 is very young.
Yes, absolutely. You both look like you're younger than 70. That's for sure.
Oh, thank you. We should do this every morning. So one of the things that I thought of when I looked at this is to do a two-phase project here, where you would build something here in effectively what is her backyard, and you would do a two-phase project. One, first phase would be here, and the second phase would be taking down the house at some point after your mother-in-law decides. Would you mind if I ask what her first name is?
Janice.
Janice. After Janice decides to move, when and if she ever does. So what would you put in the backyard in an R4 zone? All right. And one of the things that I think I've talked to you about before, but I'm not 100% sure. I think I've talked to you about the Quadran building.
Yes.
And because we're recording this, you know, you can typically put between 25 and 35 units that are designed like this on a 30,000 square foot lot. So you have about 22 or 23,000 square foot. So if that house in the front wasn't there, you could build a Quadran and you could probably could get 25 units on the property. But because the house is there, and I think if I were talking to Janice myself, if she was my mother-in-law, I would say, Janice, you're going to live there and we're going to build something in the backyard. And it could be a smaller Quadran. All right. Mm-hmm. So it could be. And the reason I like the Quadran, as you remember, is because these elements that you see, these design elements where my cursor is moving up and down, there's 3 of them here. These design elements are external staircases, which means that they don't count as part of the footprint of the building. They're considered external. And what you can do is you go in this door here, you walk up half a level, you're in this unit or this unit, you walk up another level, you're in unit here, and then 3rd floor unit here and here. So what's really fantastic about this design is there are no internal corridors. It is the most efficient floor plate I've ever seen. And when you don't have internal corridors, those are corridors you don't have to heat, you don't have to light, you don't have to clean, maintain, repair, you know, and et cetera. So you know, if I were building a Quadran, I would build probably where you've got 3 external staircases here, you might end up with 2. And you, instead of having 35 units, you might have 15 units, right? Or it probably would have to be an even number. So it might be 16 units, if you know what I'm getting at.
Sure. Yep.
All right. Now, there are a few changes to the Quadran I would make. I'm just going to make this full screen for a moment. So this was the initial design. And then the first one that clients of mine built looked like this. And again, when you look at it, you know, the Quadran, these external staircases, they do have louvers on them. If you remember, the louvers protect these staircases from snow and rain and the elements, but they are open to the air. So that's why they're considered external elements, right? So they're just louvers, but they work. And from an architectural point of view, these external elements really kind of look like they're part of the building, even though they're not technically part of the building.
Yeah, absolutely, they do.
All right. And as I said, your building might only have 2 of these. So you'd have 2, 4, 6. You'd end up with 12 units instead of 18 or something like that. Or each one of these is 2. I don't know. I think each one of these can serve 2 units. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, so it's 18 units. So this one would be, you would end up with probably 12 units. I don't know if I got that right. Yeah, 12 units in the back, designed like this. There are a couple of other animations that I really, really like. And I'm not sure if I have them in this slide deck. I'm just going to whip through these slides, and I apologize if it's going like super fast. Yeah, I think I do. That what you can do, if I can get there, with these units, is with these units, you can go half a level down, which is not, underground parking is expensive, but a half a level down is not as expensive as going a full level down. And one of the things that you can do with your parking is that underground parking, most people put parking underneath their building to the footprint of the building. Well, you own right to the property line. So even though you have to obey the setbacks, rear yard setbacks, side yard setbacks, front yard setbacks, when you go underground, you can go right to the lot line. So you can get a much bigger parking area. And if you're getting a bigger parking area, one of the things that I wanted clients of mine to do, and I don't think it's in here. I'm going to stop showing this particular slide, see if I can find it here. If I put it in here, I might not have it in here. No, I don't think I do. One of the things I wanted to put into the underground parking, and I'll stop sharing since it's no longer valuable, is if you have underground parking, I would also have underground workshops.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so what you have underground is you have some parking, and then you have some workshops. And the reason I encourage people to do that is that home-based businesses in almost all jurisdictions now in the United States and Canada are legal. And so you have an apartment here, as Robert Kiyosaki would say, Mr. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that the apartment is a liability because you got to pay money for it. But the workshop, if you have a workshop in the basement where you can have a little side hustle, that's an asset because presumably you can earn some money. Run your keynote speaking business there, run your coaching practice there, run a clothing business there, do some registered massage therapy there, whatever, do some physiotherapy there. And so that's an asset and that's a liability, and the combination is dynamite. And once somebody moves into a Quadran building and they rent the apartment and they rent the workshop, if they decide to do that, then they're never leaving.
Right. Yeah.
You'll keep them for a long time. And one of the keys, as you'll find out as you become more experienced in real estate investing, to successful real estate investing, is keeping your tenant churn to the minimum.
Yeah, for sure.
If somebody stays 7 years, that's a whole lot of extra income you're going to earn as opposed to replacing a tenant every year.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Yeah,
you have to repaint the building, you have to clean the building or the apartment, make it ready. Maybe it's vacant for 2 weeks or a month while you're doing that. So if you had to replace a tenant every year, you might lose 2 weeks to a month every year. That's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So that's one option that I wanted you to think about. But there was another option, and I think I've also mentioned this too. But for the tape there, the recording that we're doing, I'll share my screen again. And the other option I thought for for Janice's place is this, which is it's something that I've really worked on for quite a few years now, which is something I call the Gigaplex. We've talked about that, right?
No, well, you may have. I don't.
Well, I certainly mentioned it, but maybe I haven't got into detail. So I'll do that because this is quite revolutionary.
Sure.
You already know, whether it's Belleville, where you live, or Ottawa, where I currently live, or Los Angeles, or San Francisco, or Phoenix, or pretty much any city around the world, Helsinki, I mean, Shanghai, I mean, you name it. we tend to have lots of, tall buildings, where you can get a 30-story apartment, and get an apartment in a 30-story building, or in Shanghai, a 60-story building. And you might be able to get a basement apartment somewhere as well. But there's something called the missing middle. And I'm just going to sit for a minute. As it gets towards the end of the day, I definitely run out of energy. So I'll sit for a bit and then I'll stand again. So the missing middle is something between 4 and 10 units, or 4 and 12 units. Like the Quadran, I think that you could put in the backyard of Janice's property would probably have 12 units in it. All right. Yep. And that would be part of the missing middle. And it's my contention that these smaller apartment buildings that are more ground oriented are probably going to be more popular with renters than 30, 40, 50-story buildings.
Yeah.
Not just because of the pandemic. Obviously, in the middle of a pandemic, if you have to walk the dog and you got to go down a 40-story building, you got to get an elevator, maybe you could get sick just going down the elevator. Want to pick up a liter of milk, same thing.
Yep.
Before I forget though, just before I launch into this missing middle thing, I want to go back to the other slide deck just for a moment. I'll go back up here. And there is something I did want to mention to you that I forgot when I was going through it. I would make some changes to this design if we were doing it again. And I'll go to the actual building itself. So one of the things that I would do if I were doing this again is I would try and have, for this unit, all these ground floor units, I would probably not necessarily want them to actually have to go in here. I would want to try and open up these to have their own entrances to the street. Yeah. So let's say you were, even younger than you are now, and you had a little kid and a dog, or a family. It's almost always adding additional value. So what I would do is I'd have a door here, and you'd go up a few stairs, and that you would enter these units from the curb, and then you go in here to get to the others. So none of these buildings have elevators in them. You want an elevator? Go get a 40-story building. Ride up the elevators as much as you like. I understand that. You defeat the purpose of the quad if you put an elevator in. Elevators are not just expensive to install, Nick, that. You have to be licensed, right?
Yeah.
And you have to maintain that license. And to maintain elevators is very, very costly. It's like putting in a public washroom. People say, it's not that expensive to put in a public washroom. Maybe you could do it for $25,000, but then you're going to spend $10,000 a year keeping it clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Forever. So common elements are very, very expensive. So no, yes, the answer to that. So I would open up these ground floor units with their own entrances to the outside world. And then of course you'd have common entrance for the second and third floor. Something else I would change, and I'll get out of this just for a moment. I'll show you what one of my clients did. Another youngish guy, his name is Brian Dagenet, a good guy. So Brian is a big time real estate investor. He's in his 40s now and quite successful. And he bought this building on Nelson Street. And I asked him, Nelson Street's in Ottawa, so it's an older part of Ottawa, and it's an older building. I asked him because these old buildings, none of them have elevators. I said, if a Quadran doesn't have an elevator, is that an issue? And he said, no. And I said, oh, okay, why? He said, because all of his suites on the third floor are rented to young people. Mm-hmm. All of his suites at grade or close to the ground are rented to families, and these go to middle-aged people. So yeah. People sort of between 40 and 60, they go here. People under 40 go here, and families or seniors go here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense completely.
So he said, not having an elevator, he said, he turned it into a positive. And I said, how the heck can you turn not having an elevator into a positive? He said, aha. And I'll stop sharing, and then I'll come back to it for one more minute. I'm really reciting this for the video, but
Sure.
also for you. He said, the world, in fact, I had told him this, the World Health Organization a few years ago did a study of people who live to be 100 up, right around the world. And they were looking for elements like access to medical care, how much they earned in their lifetime, social interaction, nutrition, any number of factors. And one of the most important determinants of longevity was climbing stairs.
No kidding, just the exercise.
They didn't expect it. It was an unexpected, you do research, sometimes things pop out that you didn't expect. Yeah. So I told Brian that. So Brian, when he was renting it, he said, hey, my building is your Stairmaster.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, when I have 50-year-olds and 55-year-olds or 60 or 65-year-olds, and like I said, I'm 69, come to me and say, oh, I want a bungalow, I don't want to do any stairs anymore. I say, is there something wrong with your knees? Oh, no. Is there something wrong with your hips? No, my hips are fine. So why do you want a bungalow? Well, I don't want to do stairs anymore. Well, I want you to read the World Health Organization report. And I probably talk 50% of my clients out of buying a bungalow.
Yeah, for that reason.
For that reason, I said, look, I have neighbors who are in their 80s and they're still doing stairs.
Yeah.
And sure enough, if you look at some of the videos WHO has put up on YouTube, they interview people who are 102. And there's this guy, he was in his hundreds. And every morning he would get up. He lived in not only did he have to climb stairs in his house, he lived in a very hilly area. I think it was like Portugal or Italy or something like that. I think it might have been Italy. And it was like San Francisco, hills everywhere. And every morning he would get up. I think he was 102, climb down the stairs, and walk up the hill. It was a hell of a hill. Yeah. And go to his favorite place where he would get, like a croissant or something and a coffee. And so Brian turned the disadvantage of not having an elevator into an advantage in his marketing, right? So that's what he told me to do. And then yours truly had a brainwave. Now, this is my brain.
Yeah.
And the brainwave, I said to Brian, is, what if the next Quadran we build, or you build, we put in a dumbwaiter? Do you know what a dumbwaiter is?
Well, like, weren't they used in old houses like many years ago?
Yeah,
to go between floors.
When you had servants, so you can have dumbwaiters that are on the outside of buildings or on the inside of the building. So going back to the Quadran design, what I wanted to do in the next Quadran, and he's all over this, is in these stairs, put a dumbwaiter in. They're much cheaper than elevators, And so if you're bringing your groceries home, I don't really want to lug groceries up 3 stories if I don't have to. Or you're going on a trip and you have, if you take somebody like my wife, she brings her whole wardrobe with her. So you have a 40 kilogram bag, which is quite a lot. You just put it in the dumbwaiter, it goes down, or you come back from your trip, you put it in the dumbwaiter, it goes up. Do you sort of follow what I'm saying? Yeah,
absolutely, I do.
So there's some things that you could do that would really be amazing with these Quadrans, right? So we'll talk about the financing in a minute, because that's gonna be an obvious question you're gonna ask me anyway. But let's go back to the Gigaplex for a moment, all right? So here's the big reveal. So I came up with this term Gigaplex, and it's got a tagline, home free. And Gigaplex, I was going to call it a megaplex, but Giga is even bigger than mega, so I inflated it to Giga. So it's a Gigaplex. And the tagline is home free. And home free, if you remember, did you play hide and seek when you were a kid?
Sure, of course.
And when you were running and you were getting, home, you know, and you were beating the tag, you always yelled out home free, right?
Home free, that's right. Yep.
But the tagline for the Gigaplex is not just home free as in the joyful expression of home free, but it's also how to get a free home.
Love it.
And so here's what I said. So the reason I called it home free is you get a free home. The investor gets it for free because it has a higher cap rate. And also the tenants, these in the Gigaplex concept, Nick, you could rent your building to tenants for free and still make more money.
Yeah.
All right, and I'll show you how that works. The other reason I called it a Gigaplex is we're in a gig economy.
Yeah.
So it has a bunch of meanings, right? And I also like gigabytes. You know, I have terabytes of storage because I seem to have an unlimited number of files.
Yeah.
So it has a bunch of meanings. So this was the very first Gigaplex that we designed. And one of these you could build in the backyard, maybe even 2 or 3 or 4 of them. I don't know how many would fit there. You'd need an architect or an architectural technologist to figure it out. But you could certainly build probably a couple of these in the backyard, if not more. So there are 2 options I wanted to give you. One was the Quadran, which is fantastic design, and the other is a Gigaplex. So this is really basically what you're looking at here is essentially just a kind of an elegant triplex. All right.
Yep.
All right. So here's the front door for this unit. And if you walk down here, there's another door here, which leads you to the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. So this one, the ground floor has its own independent ingress and egress. And you walk down here, you go in here, and that brings you up to the other 2, right? So you've got one stairwell that is shared between 2 units and one unit that has ground floor access. Access to the outside. And do you notice also that it's a 0-step entry?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, you see those ramps in front of some houses that look like that.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody's in a wheelchair.
Sure.
Well, those tend to be ugly, I think.
They are. Yeah.
And they tend to stigmatize a home. You look at that home, oh, some old person lives there. So what we do is we create 0-step entries with pavers and paving stones and landscaping. So you know, and it's not just for older people who have a wheelchair or a walker. It's also if you're a young father or a young mother, you wheel your baby carriage right in. You carry your groceries right in. There's no steps. Okay.
Yep.
And I want you to look at this as well. If you can see where my cursor is moving around. This thing has a basement unit as well. So it is a triplex, but it really is a 4-plex, if you sort of see what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And this thing here, what you're looking at here, is what I call a manufactured walkout. Most basements are dark and dingy, and the entrance are narrow and unpleasant. This we pull out, and so you have something really special. You'll see it on the next slide. So you can see that the entrance to the basement is quite nice. In fact, I probably, if I were doing it again, I would probably pull this out even a little bit further to give it even more light and air. Now, I want you to look at this door very carefully, okay? Keep this in your mind.
Yep.
So here's the front door here, okay, where my cursor is now, but there is another door here, and that's a very important part of the Gigaplex concept. Again, you can see everything is a 0-step entry, right?
Yep.
All right. Now, here is the ground floor unit. All right. So this is the main door. You come in here. There's the living room. There's the kitchen. We don't put dining rooms in many of our apartments, Nick, because hardly anybody, you know, families hardly ever sit down for dinner anymore. So we just put lunch counters in. We put large screen TVs in, lunch counters, and we forget about the dining. And you can see that it's a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's got a 1-bath here. And you notice it's a cheater ensuite. Do you understand the concept of a cheater ensuite?
Yep, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So from the master bedroom, you can enter into the bathroom with a slider door. As long as this is shut, you've got sort of an ensuite condition here, okay?
Yeah.
But if you're entertaining people, they don't have to go into your bedroom to go to the bathroom. They can just go in here.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's double loaded. And here's the second bed. But here's the Gigaplex idea and why it's so, I think, revolutionary. This unit here is its own micro suite.
Mm-hmm.
It has its own sort of very small kitchen, has its own bath, toilet bath here, and it has its own door to the outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Remember that side door?
That's that side door. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So here's how it works. Nick builds this on Sidney Street. And he says, look, I want $2,000 a month for this 2-bedroom unit. I'm just making up the numbers.
Sure.
And along comes Prof Bruce, and he rents it from Nick for $2,000 a month. In your lease, you not only give me permission, you require me to sublet the micro suite. All right, I'm on my own. I'm just an old dude, and I come and I rent this from you for $2,000, and I have your permission. In fact, I'm required to sublet this. So let's say I put it on Airbnb. I don't have to tell you that Airbnb in Belleville and in Picton County and Hastings County, Prince Edward County, excuse me, and Hastings County are doing very well. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Clients of mine rented a nice 2-bedroom place in Picton at the height of the season this year, 2021, $600 a night.
Yeah, not surprised.
I just fell off my chair when they told me, oh yeah, we went to Prince Edward County. How much did you pay? So let's say I decide to put this micro suite on Airbnb, and let's say, I'm just making up the numbers. So let's say I get $200 a night for 20 nights a month. So I'm making $4,000 from my micro suite, and I'm paying you $2,000. So I can live in my own really nice apartment for a negative amount of money.
Sure.
Now it gets better. In your lease with me, not only are you requiring me to to sublet this micro suite, hopefully make some money, you're taking a percentage rent. Do you remember what a percentage rent is?
Yeah. So they're getting a percentage of like you have an agreed upon number that they give you on a monthly basis type thing, like 15%, 10, 20, whatever you decide.
Exactly. So let's say that I'm renting this apartment from you for $2,000, and I'm making $4,000 from my Airbnb, and I'm giving you, say, 25% of that. So now on your $2,000 apartment, you're not making $2,000, you're making $3,000 a month. And from my point of view, as an older gentleman, I'm still living for a negative amount of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Negative $1,000 a month. And what's beautiful from your point of view as the owner of this building and as my landlord is how much work are you doing on the Airbnb? Zero. So when it needs cleaning, are you doing it or am I doing it?
You're doing it.
Exactly. If somebody can't figure out how to, hook up to Netflix, they're texting me or just knocking on the door here.
Yeah, exactly.
But this micro suite can be used for much more than just Airbnb. It could be used, for example, to run your keynote speaking practice, my coaching practice, or it could be a registered massage therapy, could be a nail bar, it could be a little daycare. If I have my early childhood educator certificate, I could run a daycare. These days, it costs like $1,500 a month for a kid in daycare. And if I have 4 or 5 kids there, again, I can make thousands of dollars. Or if I was a PSW, a personal support worker, I could bring in an elderly person. And if I was an elderly person, I'd much rather live, in this, I'd much rather live in this micro suite here and have somebody with a PSW take care of me here than live in a god-awful 10-story retirement residence.
What I would be doing if you rented that to me is I would live in the micro suite and rent out the bigger thing for more money.
It's funny that you say that because a lot of young people are doing exactly what you said.
Yeah, like if I was a single guy, yeah, for
Yeah,
100%.
I didn't expect that. No, we have some PSWs who live here and rent this thing out for a huge amount of money to an elderly person.
Yeah, because you're getting your 25% anyway. So what do you care, right?
Exactly. No. And so you don't care. It could be either or. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's a good point. Really good point.
There you go. So now let's go to the second floor. All right. So you come. You remember that side entrance? You come up here, and the second floor unit works exactly the same way. It's got its own micro suite here with a door to the outside, right, to the outside corridor, and a door to the inside here. And so you've got a 1-bedroom unit here with a bathroom, and you've got a micro suite here. And again, it's completely gigaplexed. Even the second floor, you can do it. You understand?
I do, yeah.
All right. And then let's go up one more floor. And this is my favorite floor. Actually, you come up here, you're now on the 3rd floor. You've got a nice balcony here. Here, your micro suite has access to the balcony. The 1-bedroom apartment has access to the balcony. And again, it works exactly the same way. You've got this connecting door, which you can close or keep open, whatever. So really, your triplex, if you think about it, is actually 6 units.
6plex, yeah.
But wait, it gets better. Remember the Vegematic commercials on TV? But wait.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the basement. Here is the basement. Now this one I designed actually for myself. We're going to build one in the backyard of my house here in Ottawa. And you remember, if you go all the way back, excuse me for going all the way back, the basement has its own entrance from the outside. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll skip down a bunch. So you come down here and you enter here. You can have a reception area here. You have a little kitchen behind there. You have an office, another office, another office, a couple of bathrooms if you want them. So you can have in the basement your home office.
Yeah, not even leave the building, technically.
Exactly. And if you, I'll go again, I apologize for going all the way back again. If you look at the ground floor, do you see from the ground floor, you can get to the basement. So this ground floor unit, which is a 2-bedroom unit, could actually be 2 bedrooms at the ground floor. And if you wanted to, have another 3 or even 4 bedrooms in the basement. So you think about the lifespan of this building, how many different, sort of options you have.
Yeah.
I could live on the ground floor and have my office in the basement. I could live in the basement, have my office upstairs. I could rent this basement unit as a, I said it was really a 6plex. This basement could in fact be a 7th unit. And if you look at it carefully, it could even be an 8th unit.
Well, would you turn those in? So those would be, those offices, like those could be turned into like micro suites? Is that how you're kind of?
Well, no, what I'm thinking is that we could gigaplex even the basement because you have 2 entrances.
Gotcha.
You can come down here and you come into this area here. All right. So this is going up right to the outside. So this could be its own micro suite. So you could have exactly the same condition here. So you actually could end up with 8 units.
8 units, yeah.
All right. So, and then I wanted to show you this. So this is, you can put 4 gigaplexes on a lot that's 8 by 150. 80 feet by 150. And let's just go back for a moment. I'm going to get out of this. Oops, sorry. This is, Tim is a former student of mine. He helped me with the design. But if we go back to your Janice's place, the lot here is, it's friggin' huge.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, I'm just trying to see if I can go in here a little bit. It's 100, is that 100 feet? Yes, it's 100 feet wide by, or is that meters? Couldn't be meters. That's got to be feet. Yeah, so it's 100, well, we can just make sure of that. Yeah, okay. 100 feet by about 150 feet, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So in terms of, I think that's right. In terms of this, you only need 80 by 150. So in theory, you could put 4 of these on this property which would be in theory 32 units.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, it's a fantastic model. Like, so basically 4 times, what you just showed me 4 times, I could do that 4 times on that property.
Yeah, and there's a design for it. So between the Quadran and the Gigaplex, you would have to think through with your group and your coach what is best for this particular site. But the Gigaplex idea is truly revolutionary.
No, of course.
And can you imagine if you had, say, you built 2 gigaplexes in the back to start with, and you put an ad in the Belleville whatever, and said, "Hey, anybody want a free apartment? Apply."
Live for free. Yeah, exactly.
Live for free. You'd probably get a few applicants.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd get more than that.
I'm sure you would. So, how do you finance this? If I understand you correctly, there's no mortgage on it now.
Yeah, so no mortgage on it now. She's paid it off now several years ago. Bought it for 80,000, and has it obviously has it all paid off. And so she's living obviously mortgage free, pays her property tax and her bills. Of course, that's it though.
So one of the things that I thought you could at least talk to Janice about would be to have it appraised.
Yeah.
A home appraisal usually doesn't cost too much. It's
492. Yeah.
$500 maybe.
Yeah, that's what it was when I did that appraisal for our last project that you helped with.
So $500. So what do you think it's worth today?
400.
Oh, I bet it's worth more. Would you sell it for $400,000? If you would, let me know. I'll buy it.
No, I'm saying that because I don't want to spend more than 400 on it.
Well,
I know she's my mother-in-law, and you're recording this, so it's probably worth about $500,000.
Okay. So I'm going to say it's worth $600,000. I'm just going to say that. I don't know. You probably have a better handle on it than I do, but let's say it's worth $600,000. And a gigaplex is going to cost, 1 gigaplex is probably going to cost $1 million.
Yeah, no question.
Construction is really expensive now, and 2 gigaplexes are probably going to cost $2 million. So you might do 1 first and see how it goes. But let's say it was $1 million. You could certainly put a $400,000 mortgage on Janice's property. Take that cash out as long as you and your spouse would undertake to pay that. And one of the things that I would probably do if I was talking to my mother-in-law is I would say, if you're comfortable with it, you would add you and your wife as joint tenants on this property. I assume that Janice wants it to go to her daughter when she passes.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's two daughters, right? So, yeah. So if I bought it, or if we bought it, Brooke and I wouldn't buy it without my wife.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So we would buy it, and then my thought process is that she will liquidate her asset, and then when she goes, she'll be able to split cash. It's a lot easier to split that than property.
100%. All right. So let's say you put a mortgage on it for $400,000, and you would give $200,000 of that cash, I suppose, if Janice was okay with that, to Brooke's sister. What's Brooke's sister's name?
Erin.
How do you spell that?
Erin.
Yeah, that's what I thought so. All right, so so Brooke would get $200,000 and Erin would get $200,000, but Erin would have to pay the cost of that money, just the way Brooke would have to pay the cost of the money. Like on a mortgage like that, you could probably get that mortgage for around 2%.
Yeah, for sure.
It wouldn't cost very much. But if you actually want to buy it from your mother-in-law, from Janice, which I think actually makes sense. So let's say you're buying it for $500,000, right? You could buy it from Janice for $500,000 and put a mortgage on it for $400,000, and give that money to Janice, and then Janice can do whatever she wants with that money, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to give it to Erin; she just give it to Janice, and you would give Janice a lease on the house for $2 a year.
Yeah,
plus,
yeah.
plus you know, she'd pay the utilities and the property
Sure.
tax, her share of the property taxes.
Yeah.
And then you know, the other $100,000, she would simply loan it to you as a seller take back mortgage, right?
Yeah.
All right, but you would actually want that mortgage, seller take back mortgage, to be a little bit more. So maybe what you would do is you'd put say a $400,000 mortgage on it, give Janice a long-term lease, you know, at $2 a year plus utilities and her share of the property taxes. Give her $100,000 and she would give you a $400,000 seller take back mortgage. But you'd actually put a mortgage on it. I'm not doing a very good job of describing it because I want you to be able to get at least $200,000 cash out of this.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So I'll work through the numbers with you when if and when this ever becomes something you would do.
Sure.
But you could buy it for $500,000, put a mortgage in place, get a seller take back mortgage from her in second position, and probably give her $100,000 of cash.
Yeah.
Plus, you would get $200,000 in cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And that $200,000 in cash, you would use that to develop the backyard, basically.
Yeah.
And you know, there's all kinds of variations of that. She doesn't have to sell it. I mean, if as long as, I mean, she's the only person on title right now, correct?
Yeah, she's the only person on title. Yeah.
Yeah. So she could always add, if she wanted to, she could add both Aaron and Brooke as joint tenants on it. The downside of that is Aaron has to then, you know, be part of the development group, which is probably a bad idea. So
I don't want that.
You wouldn't want that, and I don't think Brooke would either. So you'd want to pay Aaron out. You'd want to get her out. So maybe it would be just Brooke and Janice on title together. So you didn't even have to buy it from Janice. You put a mortgage in place. Part of the proceeds are used to buy out Aaron. You just give her cash, and the rest of the cash is split between Brooke and Janice.
So that seems like it's a lot more feasible to do like relatively soon. Then I could do that. Like so basically it's just the lawyer's process to put Brooke on title.
So you would talk to Steve Shepard. He's done it for me, and you're allowed to add a family member to title as a joint tenant for love and affection. You don't. Sure. There's no land transfer tax. There's no. I mean, apart from paying Steve, you know, $200 or $300, that's it. So now Brooke is on title and Janice is on title. Then you apply for a mortgage, say a $400,000 mortgage, and that mortgage comes to Aaron and Brooke and Janice. So now they have $400,000 in cash.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of that, Brooke's mom gives, say, $100,000 to Aaron. There's your share of the bill, or whatever the number is. And then you use the other $300,000 to build something in the backyard.
Yeah,
that would be feasible to do, and as long as Janice wanted to do it, it would be a new adventure for her. But she'd have to be on site. But you could do that in terms of putting Brooke on title as a joint tenant. In terms of putting a mortgage in place, that is simple. As long as Aaron says, "Hey, listen, give me $100,000, I'll sign away my rights to the house."
Well, it's interesting to me because, you know, if Janice doesn't, you know, she's not even going to know. We have a title, we have a mortgage on it. Nothing's coming out of her account. She's going to have nothing but cash. So It doesn't really matter to her anyway.
Doesn't matter to her at all.
And she can stay in her house. But then Brooke and I have the equity in that home that we can use for other projects, or that project that you talked about.
Exactly. You're following it. I didn't do a very good job explaining it, but you did a better job.
No, I get it. Yeah, we got the same. No, it worked out.
So those are some of the ideas that come to mind, but I think that would be something that worth doing. And as you know, I'm a strong believer in joint tenancy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know, because again, the number, you know, Janice is in her right mind. She's, you know, relatively youthful and energetic. She's 71, not 91 or 101. But as she gets older, there's a lot of elder abuse that takes place. People will try and steal her money, try and steal her property. And by having Brooke on title with her, even if you do nothing else, just having Brooke on title with her protects her, because you can't put a mortgage on that, you can't sell it, you can't pledge it, you can't do anything without everybody who's on title as joint tenants agreeing.
Yeah.
So it provides Janice with long-term protection. And for Aaron, I don't know, would Aaron take $100,000 cash now? Probably she would.
Yeah, I mean, and she doesn't live around here, right? So
Where
like
does she
she doesn't
live?
have like Toronto, like Scarborough area.
Yeah. So, I mean, but the first discussion would be with Janice.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
say, look, let's do something really exciting and good for the family, good for the next few generations. And does she have any desire to travel, for example?
Yeah, I think she does. I mean, before COVID, she was, thinking about, going down to Bermuda again, see some friends and family and things like not family, but friends down there. And she's been down, but she was gone to Cuba with Brooke a few times and stuff. So, I mean, I think she wants to get out of that house at some time too. And we've got no problem. Like, we said that we would take her in our, but she wants, like, we'd have to make some adjustments in our home because she wants her own space type thing. And that's a totally different coaching call. But
there's no reason why you couldn't build a coach house in your where you're living now, correct?
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So if we did that mortgage, then why does Aaron need to have that money right away? Is that can you explain that just a little bit more?
No, she doesn't. I mean, it's entirely up to your mother-in-law what she wants to do with that money.
With the cash that she has that we mortgaged.
Right. Okay. But she can keep it in her bank account. She can give some to Aaron if she wants it. She can give it to the Cat Society of America.
Yeah.
Hopefully she doesn't,
No.
But I want to share something else with you. There is a version of the Gigaplex as a coach house. All right. So I'll show you this. This is part of the same slide deck. So what I basically did with Tim Moore, my former student who helped me with this, is basically lopped off the top two floors.
Okay.
So this is probably the best coach house in terms of profitability you could build anywhere. All right. So there's that front door for the Gigaplex. There's that side door. And you can't really see it very well, but there's the access to the basement.
Oh yeah, no, I can. Yeah.
So it's exactly the same. Here is the ground floor unit, exactly the same. 2 bedrooms, one of them being a micro suite with its own access to the outside, exactly the same before. Here's the basement, very similar to what you saw before. Here is kind of a perspective of it. So if you build something like this in the backyard of your principal residence for Janice, she would live on the ground floor. She'd have a 2-bedroom apartment, including a micro suite. The basement could be your office, right?
Yep.
And she could live independently. And again, if she moves away at some point, guess what? This becomes a Gigaplex unit where you have a micro suite, et cetera. Do you understand?
I do, yeah. So that makes sense. So how many can we put on that? Like even that, or like having a one that we had that you showed me before, where you put those 4, you could put like probably 1 or 2 of those on the property as well, or
oh, for sure. I mean, these are this coach house is about 847 square feet, if I remember. And if you think about the amount of revenues you could generate from this coach house, it's off the charts.
No question.
Off the charts. You've got the ground floor to rent. You've got the micro suite to rent. You've got the basement offices to rent, or the basement, you could turn that into an apartment, or you can rent the whole thing. In effect, this could be 4 units in your backyard.
Yeah.
So in terms of affordable housing, Nick, in terms of affordable housing, can you just give me 1 second here?
Yep.
My wife's in the hospital today.
Okay.
And she needs something.
I'm gonna run down and get a drink of water.
You go get a drink of water. I'm gonna give her a call.
Sounds good.
Sorry about that.
No problem at all.
All right. So I've recorded this, and I'll make sure that you have a copy available to you so you can show Brooke, and you can show Janice too if you want. And think it through. We need to think it through a little bit more, but you know, it has a tremendous potential. And imagine a coach house in the backyard along the lines that we've just talked about. It'd be a pretty nice place for Janice to live, in which case you'd knock down that house and you'd build something really special on that lot, because that lot you should keep. That is a keeper. Well,
and that's the thing too, is one of the things that just spoke to me when I went down the hall. I'm at the college, so it took me a little while to get a water, but one of the things I just thought of, like that coach house, like just estimate, like just on top of your head, what would that cost me to build? Like $100K?
No, it's I wish I could tell you it was $100K. It's $250,000 building.
But still, that's $750,000 less than the $1 million.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
That's what I mean, right? So I can start with that one.
Yeah, let's do some numbers. Okay, you got your calculator there?
Sure.
All right. So you build the Gigaplex coach house for $250,000, and you rent the upstairs for $2,000 a month. And we'll say that your percentage rent is another $500. So you're getting $2,500 for the upstairs. And you do the same for the downstairs, and we'll just say for the downstairs it's $1,500. All right. So you've got $4,000 a month.
Yep.
Multiply that by 12, it's $48,000 a year.
Yep.
Multiply that by 0.66 to get your net operating income. What do you get?
Sorry, 0.6, what'd you say?
You multiply the gross operating income by 0.66.
7.92.
No. Do it again. It's $48,000 a year is your gross income.
Yeah.
To get your net operating income, you have to deduct 34% for property taxes, insurance, property management, maintenance, repairs, etc. So you multiply $48,000 a year by 0.66.
Oh, 31,680. 31,680.
Right, and divide that by 250,000 to get your cap rate.
%12 cap rate, just over. 12.6% cap rate.
That's it. Yeah, the ones we built have been between 11 and 13, so that's about right.
Well, that's the thing. So what spoke to me about that is saying to Brooke, like, if we were to get you on title, and then we were to take, you know, we got it appraised for 600,000, and we were able to get a mortgage for 400. We take that in cash. We give 100 to Aaron. Janice keeps the money, another 100 in her bank or whatever, what she wants to do with it. We take that 200,000, call it 200, 250, make a coach house, job done.
Yeah.
In the back, we have to pull out. We have to turn down that house yet because we're not even using it.
Exactly. No. I love that idea, and you know, I think that is in fact probably for you a better plan. You know,
to start
as you know, the minimum cap rate I've set for myself and the people I work with is 6%. A number of my buildings are 6.5, 7, 7.5.
Yeah.
When I started doing these coach houses and getting 11 and 12, one of them is at 13%. That makes a big difference to your life.
No question, it does. Yeah.
You know, absolutely. I mean, if you take 12% and project it out 20 years, and you take say 6%, and you do that, I mean, the curve is just so. Yeah. So these are fantastic numbers. And the other thing I really like about the Gigaplex is the ability to really help people. If you think about it, it's give a person a fishing rod, not a fish.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, she goes in that, and that's the thing too. You put her, if I got her in a coach house, she moves out of that. She got this new coach house in the back, and she has her own little property. Like, you know, she could just kind of manipulate her own little property that's like a lot smaller and tear down the building in the front and make a bunch of these like I envision it 2, 2, 2, 2, and then her coach house in the back with another entrance that goes out. Like for her car, and it's just a small little, you know, and she gets to stay in her property, have that independence, and then when she gets to a point where she really needs to move in with us, I mean, who knows, but maybe when she's 80 or something,
Yeah.
we'll have that already built, and then we'll be in maybe in a different home, or we can
Yeah.
just.
Well,
build one in
you'll probably be in a different home, but you could put another one of these Gigaplex coach houses in your backyard for her.
Yeah, coach. Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
because, my mother-in-law, loves her family, but she loves her independence too, and she's 97.
Yeah, that's it. That's Janice, and she'll live to 108. I mean,
I hope so. All right, so let's talk about 12 Highland. Where are you at with 12 Highland?
well, I tell you, it's a lot of exciting stuff happened with that. I got to be careful because I just get I get so excited by it's like it was like me in high school before I met Brooke, just chasing women. I just love the thrill of the hunt. You're not recording this anymore.
Yeah, we are recording. So, but listen, I mean, part of the reason that Brooke married you is that you like women, right?
Well, that's the thing. No, but I obviously say that tongue in cheek.
Hey,
But when I met her, it was all over. But here's the thing: what I'm really enjoying was that whole process of getting the deal. Is my point, right? So. Yeah. So right now, yeah, like I had a meeting with Steven today and his firm. All the numbers and papers are in, everything's good to go. I got a really good quote on insurance monthly.
Tell me about it.
Pardon?
What was your quote?
$2,000 a year.
Not bad.
Yeah, just under that. Let me give you the exact quote.
Sure.
Just because I thought it was a really good. I've got it right here. It just came in, so.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay.
You still there?
Yeah, sorry, it's just downloading so slow. I don't know what happened to my internet. Oh, it's back now. Should be good. What do we got here? Yeah, just under 2,000, 1,800.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah. Bay of Quinte Mutual.
Who's it with?
Bay of Quinte Mutual Insurance Company.
Good.
So anyway, back to the story. So that Sean McCormick, who's been a legend. Everybody I have, I owe to you, Bruce, because the lawyer is Steven, as you know. Sean, he's been good. So I got my thought process was because our rent was that's why we probably got the buildings for so cheap.
Yep.
Relatively cheap. Was that the renters are $1,500. They pay everything except for property tax and water, as you know. So my mortgage is $1,074 a month.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I just, like I said, I want one payment, Sean, and I just want it amortized over 30 years. And he's like, yeah, no problem. So he did that obviously he did that and did a great job with that. So that was good. And so that keeps it relatively low. And then they pay, like I said, they pay $700 and $800 a month each. And then the mortgage, or sorry, the insurance is, like I said, like $1,900. So that comes into around 158, just over a month, which is good. And then I got to pay property. Oh, the property tax is worked into the mortgage, so it's gonna be a little higher. Sorry, I worked it into the mortgage because I just figured it'd be one payment out of sight, out of mind.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, so I do that. So basically when I do the 1,076, it's actually going to be an extra 191, I think. So it'll be about 1,200. And so then I just, at the end of the day, I don't know what the water's going to come in at, but I mean, I know I'm going to lose monthly, but the way I look at it is,
how much are you going to lose monthly?
Well, just the water, because right now I'm at, like, with the insurance that I got, everything worked in. I come in at around $1,350 and they're paying $1,500. So if the water is around 150, then I'm good. But if
the water won't be $150 a month. There's
yeah.
no way. Water will probably be about $50 to $60 a month.
Well, there you go. So then then I'll just get under, like, I've been finagling, trying to get as much. And I know about, like, that's the thing, right? Just because I'm going to go in, I'm going to talk to the renters, like you said,
Mhm.
and I'm just going to say, hey, listen, like, I see them on Friday, and I'm just going to be like, you know what, we're happy to have everything. I am going to get you to sign a lease, even though they're month to month. And what I'm going to say is, I'm going to need first, you tell me, you know better than I, Bruce. My plan is to say to them, listen, like, I know you're month to month, I recognize that, but now it's new. What I want you to do, well, what I hope we can do is work together. You can sign, I need a first and last months. And then whenever you do decide to leave, whether it's 10 years from now, 10 months from now, whenever you want to leave, the last one is not going to be paid, but I'm going to need you to pay me the 3,000, like, you know, hopefully. I don't know. That's my question for you, is like, are they going to look at that and be like, well, I can't give you first and last month's rent? I don't know. Right. Like,
Well, they might say that, you know.
What's the play on that?
Well, couple things. First of all, you are allowed to increase the rent by 1.2% starting January 1st.
Yeah, I got the document already filled out, and then I got to send it to them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You send me.
So I would say, look, I'm going to ask you for first and last months, and you know, but if they say no, I wouldn't push it.
Okay.
I don't want to have. I want you to have a really good relationship with these people.
Yep.
But the 1.2% for sure, you need that.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, and you're going to have a discussion with them as well about the 2 garages. Do you have the pictures of the garages now?
Yeah, I don't have them up. I'll try to find them.
Okay, I just made you the co-host so you can show them to me. Because the more important thing, I think, for you is having a good relationship with these people and telling them when you see them that you're going to do something, because you should tell them, look, you're probably going to lose money on this. You know, I mean, by the time you have some repairs and maintenance, you pay yourself some property management, right? You probably would lose money. I mean, you should be paying yourself 6 to 8% of the rent to do property management, because somebody has to do it. You're going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if it was 8% of $1,500 or whatever, it's another, what is that, $120, right?
Yeah.
So you can say honestly to them, look, I'm probably going to lose money every month on this, but if you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. You probably should sign a year's lease. You probably should give me first and last month. I definitely want 1.2% increase. But I also want your support on what I'm going to do with the property. Okay. And you're going to tell them that you're going to do something with the 2 garages so you can hopefully make a little bit of extra money. You're going to tell them this, okay?
Yep. I just realized I have I have it in photos here. I was looking to see if I had them for you, but here they are.
Just show me the 2 garages again.
Okay. So that's the one. I'm just going to call it the second one. Just 1 second.
You know how to share your screen, right?
Yeah, I got you. Okay. So I'll just share my screen here, and I will. Okay, so this is the one. Can you see that?
Yep.
So this is the 1 garage. See this little part right here? That goes all the way out to the road, but it's actually a better little driveway after about 6 feet from there. And it goes up the road. That's 1 driveway. That's the 1 property, or the 1.
You could gravel that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, I could. The other one is.
And which one would that one that you just showed me? Would that be the workshop?
Yeah, I was thinking that would be the workshop.
That should be the workshop because it has the driveway to the outside. Well,
yeah, this one does too, though. They both actually, but
wow.
The tenant's got to sit in 1 driveway, right?
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so the tenants have 1 driveway. This actually has a driveway. I'm going to share my screen now. You'll see a handsome fellow on the left there. So this is the other one. That's the front view. Do you want a side view of it?
Sure.
Okay.
You've got a Mac, right?
Yeah. How can you tell?
Just different controls.
Oh, gotcha. Here's the side. So here's the side view of the one I just showed. You see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
As you know, the combination of, excuse me, storage and workshop is dynamite.
yeah, that's what I was.
So, you know, you could divide this unit into probably 2 or 3 storage, you know, 2 or 3 places where people could store stuff.
Yeah.
And the other one is a workshop. And you know, your tenants have to support you on this because, as you know, I'm pretty sure the bylaws in Belleville are no different than Ottawa. Somebody who lives in the property could rent a storage unit from you or rent a workshop, but somebody down the street probably is not legally allowed to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But Steve Shepherd worked out for another client of mine a workaround, which is you can have one of your tenants, if you have a good relationship with her. Is this one of your tenants on the screen now?
No, that's the realtor.
All right, but let's say, do you know the first name of one of your tenants?
No, not yet.
Well, let's say her name's Beverly. So you can say to Beverly, Beverly, guess what? You're going to rent the storage units in the back, and you're going to rent the workshop from me, and you're going to rent that or sublet that to whoever I find who wants storage and workshop. And I'm going to, you know, you're taking no risk. If there's no money, you don't pay me anything. But if there is, you get a percentage of that. So let's say you had 3 storage lockers in this building that you're showing me here. Each one is being rented. I'm just making up the numbers for $100 a month each. Okay.
Okay.
So out of this building, you're getting $300 a month. You're going to give her $60 a month. Right. But so she'll actually just be, she'll be renting them. So if Belleville ever asked you who you're renting to, hey, I'm renting to the lady who's already in the place.
Sure. Yeah.
And who she sublets it to, you know what? That's not your lookout. Steve Shepherd and I have done this. So it's a form of augmented tenancy. Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
And on the workshop, let's say you get $500 a month for that. You give her another 50 or 60 bucks. So she can get 100. You know, what is she paying in rent?
The woman, well, yeah, so she'll pay whoever we're talking about. One pays 700, one pays 800.
So let's say you're talking to the one who pays $800. She makes $60 on one side and 60. She's making $120. Now she's living in her own apartment she was paying 800. Now she's paying, you know, $680 a month.
Yeah.
Right. And she's helping you.
Yep.
Now, if you're getting, say, $300 for this building and $500 for the other, you're making an extra $800 less the $120 you're giving her for her help. You're making almost an extra $700 a month. That's pure profit.
Yeah, perfect.
So with the storage units, all you have to do is make sure that it's relatively mouse proof.
Okay.
And for the workshop, you do have to insulate it and heat it, but you know, that's about it. You might need to add water to the workshop, which is easy to do. And then you just put a composting toilet in.
So would you do for these, okay, that'll make sense to me. And you've sent me the specs for things like that. But when you do like so for this one, say like this is a storage unit, would you make it so that the storage units are like this and then like through the wall and they all just be 3 separate storage units type thing?
Well, I'm not really sure how you would do it. I mean, you've got the big front doors, so the double doors in the front.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's obviously one unit. Then you probably have another door at the very, very back.
Okay.
Probably, I guess. I can't see the behind there, but
well, this separates it. So this is a unit, or this is actually a storage place.
There you go.
And then you'd have to put another door.
No, you might just do 2 units then. Keep it real simple. You might have one in the front and one in the back. You've got 2 units. You rent the one in the front for $175 because it's pretty big. The one in the back for $125. You got your $300.
Okay, done. Job. I know what you're saying now.
And on the workshop, do you know what a gray water system is?
Gray water. No, I don't think we went over that.
So is this this building? It's on water and sewer, city water and sewer, city sewer, right?
My building, like the actual house, yeah.
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 It's connected to the sewer lines, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if you put into the workshop, can you just put up the other building?
Happily. Can you see that or no?
Just show me the other building. This one I'm still seeing. Yeah. So get rid of that one and show the other. That's it. And show the other one.
Here's the other building.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty cute.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Hang on a second. I'm just trying to find something for you.
Sure. While you're doing that, while you're going through that, so I would get someone like for this building. I'll just let you. So for the other building, I'll let you talk about this one. But for the other building, basically, I'm just like, I'm finishing the walls, cementing it, things like that. That's it.
For the storage one, you clean it up. You do your best to mouse proof it, and you put it on Kijiji or whatever's big in Belleville, and say I've got a couple of storage units for rent.
Okay, so what does mouse proof it mean to you?
So I don't want you to spend a lot of money on these buildings. At some point they might be tear downs, so don't spend a lot of money.
Okay.
So to me, mouse proof means that, you seal the buildings. You've seen that stuff on TV. They've got that goop that you can put just about anywhere. It's like a plastic thing. You put it on there. You just mouse proof it. And what I do for a lot of my buildings, I've got a few industrial buildings. I've got cats in there.
Yeah, perfect.
We put a cat in there, and the cat lives there.
But I think the floor is really bad. I'll have to check the floor on Friday when I get there. I don't know.
With the floor, you just gravel it.
Gravel the floor? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, gravel is super cheap.
Yeah, I know.
And it looks nice. Like that, what you're showing me there, that driveway looks pretty shitty. Excuse my language, but it looks pretty crappy. But you put a load of gravel down, it'll look beautiful.
Okay. So this is this would be the workshop.
Yeah,
this is the workshop building.
No, this is going to be awesome. And so on the workshop, you've got power in there, right?
Yeah, there's power in there. Yeah.
So in there, in the workshop, you insulate it, you put a heater in there, you gravel the floor. It's a workshop. If you have to, you put a composting toilet in there and you add water. Now stop sharing your screen. I'll show you what a gray water system is.
Okay. Oh, and the sub meter too. Yeah,
the sub meter. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So let me show you what I would do. Oops. So if you put water to the building, it's got to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You may not even have to do this. It may already have a storm drain, and so you should check inside if it has a storm drain. But if it doesn't, what you can do is you can just simply dig a pit, right? And you just basically you can see what it is here. You dig a pit. And you put in gravel and sand and some wood chips, and so you water comes into the building. Water is easy to add, right? Water comes into the building. You're going to have a sink there. The sink drains. It drains into a gray water system.
Okay,
that's it. Right, but
where do you build that, or where do you dig that? Inside the building type thing, like?
No, outside. Show me. I'm going to stop. Show me your screen again. Your workshop building. But it might already have a floor drain, in which case you just drain it down the floor drain.
Yeah, I'll look in when I look there on Friday.
You see at the very, very back. Just run your cursor to the very back of your building there. Yeah. So wherever you put the sink, in the back there, away from the house. You put a French drain in there.
Okay.
It's called a gray water system. You dig it. It's very simple. You get one of those little tiny backhoes. You dig a 6-foot, hole. Fill it up with gravel, a little bit of sand, some wood chips, and that's where you drain the water to. So I mean, basically, you've got a sink. The only thing that you're doing is you're washing your hands from time to time.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't, and you shouldn't anyway. You shouldn't put turpentine or chemicals down there. That you shouldn't do anyway, right?
Yeah.
But if you're just washing your hands, or something like that, or you're cleaning, I don't know, something, whatever. Let's say you're a potter. I rent this for my pottery workshop. I have to clean my tools. A little bit of clay, a little bit of dust. It goes into the gray water system, into the French drain. That's it. You're not going to create any problems for your neighbors. You're not going to create any pollution. It's a very, very, very simple system. People have been using these kinds of drains for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it hard to get the water out there?
No, I mean, water it's like not even a half-inch pipe. You're probably going to use a 3/8 or half-inch pipe. Obviously, it has to be trenched, right? Because you don't want it to freeze. But you'll get a plumber. A plumber will put the French drain in for you. The plumber will put the pipe in for you and put a sink in there. You're basically putting a utility sink. You've got one in your house probably.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And you got so you create a little bathroom. In the bathroom, you'd have your utility sink and your composting toilet. You're good to go. That thing is that, and you probably get if you do it right and you do it nice, you probably get $600 a month for that thing.
No kidding.
Yep.
And what would it cost me to? What do you think it's gonna like? How much should I have? Like, just like, I know we're not going to talk about sunk costs, but like breakdown and budget and things.
Well, you should budget. You should budget something for gravel. Gravel looks nice. It'll dress up the site. So you'll need a few loads of gravel. You'll need some backhoe time. And backhoe? I mean those little tiny backhoes. They look like they got tank treads on them, and they're.
Yeah, my brother-in-law has one.
Yeah. You if you know how to use it yourself, it doesn't cost you anything. You can rent them. So you can dig your own French drain, put the gravel in, and it's all of this stuff is easy. You insulate it. You make sure you've got good lighting in there. Like workshops should have really good light, right? And so you're going to have some electrical costs. You're going to have some insulation costs. Do not drywall it.
Don't drywall. Okay.
No, you put the insulation in, and then you use not wallboard. You use masonite.
Masonite. Okay.
I mean cheap wood, right? The reason for that is if you drywall it, it'll look like crap in 6 months, because every time if you were just to take your elbow and do that to drywall like this now. Yeah. You'll put a hole in it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's not a workshop. So I build my workshops with super cheap, I don't use you can use plywood, but plywood's expensive. You don't need that. You just use the old masonite wood, and it's cheap and cheerful. And so it shouldn't cost you a whole lot of money.
Okay.
But you've got to do something to, you want to try and make $500 or $600 or $700 a month from this building. Right?
100%. No. Yeah, I get it.
Stop sharing for a minute. So the worst thing for you is to do nothing, right? Obviously you're going to do something with your tenants, but you have to have the tenants on site. If they hate you, they'll rat you out to the city of Belleville in 5 seconds.
Yeah, no kidding.
So you don't want that. You say, look, I've got these 2 buildings. I'm going to use one for storage, and I'm going to use one for workshop, but I want your approval, and I will consult with you. So if it's a lady doing pottery, who cares, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What you don't want,
the street for the longest time, you know what I mean?
Exactly. What you don't want in the backyard is somebody, doing, auto repair, auto body repair, where you hear the banging and crashing. We're talking about things that and you'll tell your tenants this. Look, I don't know what exactly I'm going to do with it. Probably storage, probably some kind of a workshop, but I'll make sure, because I'll talk to you, that whatever we do in the backyard is something you approve of.
Yeah. Okay. So when I talked to them, you talked the last time about, Steve, how you that you had different tenants that you didn't like, that were jumped up the money. Should I offer them that opportunity to move out in the spring, or should I wait?
No, I would ask them. I told you this by email. I would simply ask them, look, do you want to stay? If you want to move, let me know. But do you want to stay? If you want to stay, then we'll do a year's lease. I would just simply ask them. Okay. But a year from now, you will make a decision whether you want them to stay or go, right?
Yeah.
At some point, you could probably double your rent, right? If they left.
Well, absolutely, I can. I could get the bottom for 14, no question, and the top for 12.
Exactly. So you could you could double your rent basically. So but right now, Easy does it. You say, look, do you want to stay? What are your plans? If you want to stay, that's okay with me. We'll do a year's lease.
Yeah.
But I want you to support me, because I'm going to lose money every month. I want you to support me. I got to do something with these 2 little buildings in the back. I'll probably use one for storage, quiet use, and some kind of a workshop. Okay.
Okay. And another.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No.
So I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know why that was so fleeting. It must not have been important.
No, I bet you did. You'll come back. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is this little Bunkie. So one of the things that I don't know if your backyard. How big is that backyard?
I'm gonna look and see if I have a picture. One sec.
Okay.
I think I have the, well, I have the entire,
Do you have a survey?
yeah, well, I have the listing. I just shared it. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
I'm just wondering if it's on here.
We'll see. Go down to the, yeah, usually has the features there. Hang on, look. Look at the depth of the lot, 179 feet.
Yeah, sorry, there it is. So 67 by 179.
Wow. Okay, so stop sharing for a moment. You stop and I'll start now. So, you know, this is one of the bunkies I've designed. I think I sent this to you, right?
You sent this to me, yeah.
So what I'd like you to do, you're not going to do this now because you need more experience. But at some point you might build this in the backyard. In addition, just leave the two little buildings there. You know, one's a storage unit, one's. So what I'd like you to do is see if you could fit this thing in the backyard. It's 179 feet deep, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my other screen. Hang on. So when I look at this, Nick, here's Highland. Does it come all the way back here?
Yep, it hits that. Yeah. So you have it right there, and it goes all the way back, right where your cursor is. Yep.
Wow. So I think what I'd like, oh my gosh, what I'd like you to do is I'd like to see if you could actually build this bunkie that I showed on my screen back here. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
And you should just go back there and pace it out before. You don't get much snow in Belleville, do you?
No, we get not as much as Ottawa, but we get it.
Yeah, but you might go and pace it out when you're visiting with your tenants and see if you could put this. I bet you could put this thing in right here. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Yeah, no question.
All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this screen. And so even if your tenants decide to say, if you put this in the backyard, that's a sweetheart of a little building. And that thing is about $150,000. Unfortunately, it has to be hooked up to the water and sewer. This one is not one that you can do with a French drain, you know, gray water system. You need to hook it up. But look at this building here. I'll show you and you know, it's on helical files. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
So very, very simple to do, very inexpensive to do. And look at this. It's such a sweetheart of a building. Here's the front door. You come in here, you've got your great room here, you've got your kitchen, your living dining room here. Here's another door to the outside. You've got a nice deck here. You've got a bathroom here and a bedroom here. The bedroom has a door to the outside. Can you imagine this little unit, which is only, and it has the dimensions here, it's only 20, I think it's 26 feet by 19 feet. So I am sure, I'm pretty much 100% sure that you could put something that's only 19 feet wide. Remember, this is 67 feet here. Can you see what I'm doing here?
Yeah, I do. I
From here, we'll measure this distance together. From here to here is 59 feet. So 19 feet is only, you know, a third of that.
Yeah.
So let's, I'll just clear that measurement. So let's do something that's 19 feet. We'll make it 20 feet. So hang on. Measure distance to here. Is that 20 feet? No, it's 30 feet. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's 20 feet. And then we'll go here. What did I say that is? That looks like, gosh, my eyes are failing me. Yeah, it's 28 feet. So let's go 20, see if that's 28 feet. I don't know if that is. That's 53 feet that way. So we said that's 20. So that's 30. That's too much. It's a peanut of a building.
Yeah.
So, you know, just give me a second. 28 plus 20 is 48. Yeah, so that's about right. What happened? Oh, shit. I just screwed up. Sorry, that was bad. Let's do it again, all right? We're gonna do it one more time.
Sure.
And I'll take a picture of it, and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I sent you the other one I just did too.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
So that's too big. That's about right. And it comes to here. That's about right. Comes to here and comes to here. Yeah. So, oh my God, I'm a genius. The building is 542 square feet, and I just designed it for you.
Perfect.
So you can see there's no problem. You should be able to get that thing in there, no problem at all.
Yeah.
All right. And so even if these, what the heck? I'm hating myself.
Go easy. Go easy on yourself.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, when it comes to the end of the day, I'm pretty much shot.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, forget it. I'm gonna do that again. Piece of crap. Come on, Google, do better. All right. All right, so now we'll do it again. I promise not to screw up. Measure distance. That's good. That looks about right. Shoot. Yeah, that's about it. All right, so I better print screen. This time I hope I don't mess it up. I didn't. So when you, I'll send you this too in a sec. So take this with you with the drawings, you know, that I sent you. So even if these ladies decide, or I guess they're ladies, but your tenants anyway, they decide to you know, to stay with you, you build a coach house in the backyard, you turn one into a storage unit and the other into a workshop, you'll be making plenty of money.
Yep, I agree. And then when I get it reappraised in 3 to 5 years, it's
well,
going to
in 2 to 3 years, you're going to get it reappraised.
Yeah, so 2 or 3 years, I'm going to reappraise, and I'm just going to take it in cash. So.
Yep. Yeah. And eventually these people will leave. But if you decide you want them out sooner, you just pay them $4,000 or $5,000 and they'll probably leave.
Yeah, but don't. But you're saying about that, and that's what I wanted to ask you. But just wait. I should just wait about that, right? Just talk to them about this.
Listen, I would ask them. I said, look, what are your plans for the next year?
Okay,
Do you want to stay? And they say, no, I'm actually moving to BC. Okay, fine. When?
Yeah. Okay.
If they say, no, I'd like to stay. Okay, I'm going to give you a 1-year lease, but I want support for a couple of things, right?
Okay, got it.
All right. So tell me about this, you know, the 40K and the 2 guys and the house. How's that going?
Oh. So interesting. So I went to Steve, and after our call, and he said, "Well, what do you owe on it, or what's your stake?" And I said, "To be honest, I don't know what the stake is because I was naive and dumb 5 years ago. Still am, but a little bit less now because I work with you, Bruce." And I said, "What do I do?" I said, "What do you like?" I said, "I think I'm 1/3." He said, "Okay, put you down for 1/3." So I was like, at the very least, this is what I said to Steve. I said, at the very least, Steve, this is going to force him to give me a complete understanding of what I'm doing going forward. And that's what I want. So he gave me the document. I sent it to him and a couple of days ago, and he's like, "I'm not signing that." And I said, "Okay, Adam." He's like, "You don't have a 1/3 stake." And I said, "Fair enough. What do I have?" He said, "Well," he goes, "because I have all the risk." And I said, "I understand you have the risk, but I bought the lot. I gave you the money to buy the lot. You have the lot." And I understand that. And he goes, "No, I get that." He goes, "So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you, instead of 18,000 on the 40, I'm actually going to give you 28 because I owe you 50 because it's been 4 years. I'm going to add another 10 to that. And then on the profit, I'm going to give you 15 to 20% on the profit." I go, "What is it? 15 or 20%? He goes, 20%. I said, "Okay." So I screenshotted it. And now that's what I have as my proof. I said, "That's fine." I said, "Moving forward though," because my brother-in-law phones and he said, "You know, our buddy Adam asked me if I'd sever a lot and do this again." And I said, and he goes, "I don't want to do it because of the rigmarole you went through." And I said, "Oh, I'll never go through that again because I'll have our lawyer. If I do anything like that, Steve is going to draw up, be like, this is your shares, this is your share, this is your share, and I know that this is what I'm going to do. So my thought process is 40,000 I put in 4.5 years ago, or 4 and a bit years ago. I will get 40,000 back plus my 10,000, so 50,000 plus 20% of, we're hoping to make around 150 to 200 on it. He said all in, he should probably have 425, and the buyer is he's looking to sell it for about 625, 650. So I stand to make on that deal about 30,000 plus my thing. So that'll put me around 30 to 50,000.
So you'll get 40 plus another 30, 40, or 50.
Sorry, so I'm owed 40 because, I'm owed 18. He's already paid me back 22 out of the 40 I've paid him, but he's added another 10 to that. So so I'm owed 28 out of the expenses. And then, I'll get another 20% based on whatever the sale is. So between 30 and 50,000.
Okay. And when will this money come to you?
As soon as we sell it. So we have a buyer, that's a girl that wants to buy it. Steve said he'll do all the documents for me. We don't need a realtor. And he said that we've got a person that wants to buy it, but he hasn't given the price yet. He wants to do, like, my friend Adam is going to do an assessment of the house, give her a price, but he's going to appraise it around 650. Do you want me to give you the address?
In a second.
Okay.
Anyway, keep going.
And so that's kind of where we're at with it. So my hope is that, they'll buy it. I don't know how long it's going to take to close or whatever, but I do know he did come to me actually, and I wanted to talk to you about it. I know this is a little bit a cappella though, so I can put it on the list, but since we're talking about it,
sure.
He did say, like, I'd like to move on these and do 2 a year. I don't want to spend any more than 150,000 on a lot. He said, so here's the thing, Nick, if you want to put money in, he's like, you'll take all your money out of this one. And if you want to put 40,000 in, you're always going to have a stake of 20% on 40,000. And then you decide if and that way you'll make between 25,000 and 50,000 a year on 2 builds or on two sales. If we do that.
So, a few things come to mind. First of all, I think having 20% of profit is dangerous because, profits can often be defined away to zero.
Sure.
Like I could hire my brother, my nephew, my 2 boys, my daughter, and I could pay them money, to clean the house. I don't know, to, do laboring. And I could say, Nick, you get 20% of the profit, but on this house, we only made 10 grand. So you get $2,000.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's very dangerous to go 20% of profits because profits can be defined away to nothing. So what I would do, and this is just me saying it, I would say to these guys, I'll consider it, but not until we finish what we're doing now and I get my money. All right.
Yeah.
And so what you want to do is you don't want to close the door now because you haven't got the money yet.
Exactly. And I got to play that game, right?
You got to play that game with all due respect. And you say, look, I will consider it. I certainly could use a little bit of extra money. Who can't? But to negotiate the next deal now, you might end up in a dispute with them about what the next deal looks like. And then they'll say, well, screw this. Nick's not getting $40,000, $50,000 out of this deal, and we're going to give him 10 grand to hell with them.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. Like that's the one thing we didn't say.
Keep the fish on the hook.
Yeah.
But if you were going to do a deal like that, like lots of people do, but what they do instead is they say, look, I'll lend you $40,000 or $50,000 to buy a lot, whatever you need. I want 10% interest on that, or 12% interest on that. I'm willing to capitalize interest and wait up to 2 years, but they put a term on it. So if you haven't, if you haven't paid me back within 2 years, you owe me the 40,000 plus 12% for over 2 years. It would be registered as a mortgage, even if it's a second mortgage. So you have all of the relief provisions of the Mortgage Act. In other words, if they don't pay you, you can power sale it, get your money that way, or foreclose, which is different. I want 20%. I don't want 20% of the profit. I'm okay. You keep whatever profit you make, you keep all of it. But I want 5% of the sale price.
Good. Okay.
Because 5% of the sale price, they can't not easily fake that, right? If they sell it for 650, 5% is 32,500.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're going to get 12% on your money, and you're going to get 5% of the sale price. That is a much safer deal for you.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Hold on, let me write this down. So 10 to 12% on my money.
Yeah.
5% moving forward, like 5%, like this is what I'll do. Yeah, 5%.
5% of the sale price when it's sold. And your money is going to be registered as a mortgage. Steve will do that for you, even if it's a second mortgage. All right. So you have real security, and in the mortgage it will say exactly what you're entitled to: 12% interest and 5% of the proceeds of the sale.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a little part of me that thought you'd be really proud, though, when I sent him that stuff. He's like, Jesus, man. He's like, you're starting to become very ruthless.
Well, you don't want to be ruthless. You just want to protect yourself, because look, my son came to me today. One of my sons came to me today. He needs a little bit of money to fix his truck. He doesn't have enough money. You think I want a loan agreement with my son? I do not. He needs $1,800 to fix his truck. So I just sent him the money. If he repays me, great. If he doesn't, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to litigate with my kids. I'm never going to have any paperwork with my kids or my wife, but with these two guys, that's different.
Yeah, 100%. No, I get it. Now I know. And that's what I like. I like the fact that, moving forward, when he says, okay, well, you're $40,000 buy it. I'm like, okay, it's 40,000 at 10%, 12%, plus 5% of the profit.
Yeah, exactly. And not 5% of profit, 5% of the sale proceeds.
Sorry, sale price, not profit. I actually wrote down not profit. So
not profit. Okay.
Yeah.
One more thing you asked me to do, and I just sent it to you, and I want you to read it. We're not going to do any more today, but this is a rental agreement I use for storage space and for workshops. All right, I sent it to you.
Okay.
I'd like you to read it and see if you understand it.
Okay.
And I'd like you to put it on the agenda. We'll go through it next time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Right. So I'm really glad to see it, Nick. I'm really proud of you. You're doing really good work, and you've come a long way in a short period of time. And I have the recording. I'll put it on YouTube. It's unlisted. You and I'll have it, but you can share it with Brooke, and you can show parts of it to Janice.
I will. Only parts. Thanks, Bruce.
And don't show the part about chasing women to Brooke.
Yeah, I know exactly.
See you later, brother.
Take good care.
You too.